The healing hands. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord, not for human masters. Colossians 3:23. On a bright Monday morning, Dr. Daniel Carter walked through the doors of Mercy General Hospital for the very first time. Fresh out of medical school, he wore a crisp white coat, carried a stethoscope around his neck, and held a heart full of hope. Though he was new to the job, he had already made a promise to himself. Every patient who came into his care would be treated with kindness, respect, and compassion. His first few weeks were not easy. Some of the senior doctors thought he was inexperienced and too gentle. They laughed when he spent extra time listening to worried patients or comforting grieving families. "You'll never survive in this hospital if you keep wasting time talking to people," one doctor said. Another shook his head and laughed. "Medicine isn't about feelings, you'll learn that soon enough." Daniel heard every harsh word. But he never argued. Instead, he remembered why he had become a doctor: to heal people. Not only with medicine, but also with kindness. Each morning, he greeted his patients with a smile. He patiently explained their treatments, prayed silently for those who were suffering, and stayed after his shift to help anyone who needed him. To Daniel, every patient mattered. One afternoon, an elderly woman who had been battling illness for months held his hand with tears in her eyes. "Doctor," she whispered, "many people treated my sickness, but you treated my heart. Thank you for making me feel like I matter." Those words stayed with Daniel for the rest of his life. As the years passed, more and more patients asked specifically for Dr. Carter. Families trusted him. Nurses admired him. Even those who had once criticized him began to notice that his patients recovered with hope because they felt cared for. His reputation spread far beyond the hospital walls. Mercy General became known not only for excellent medical care but also for compassionate service. When the hospital director retired after many years of faithful leadership, the board of directors met to choose a successor. They reviewed qualifications, experience, and leadership. Again and again, one name stood above all the others: Dr. Daniel Carter. The board unanimously promoted him to hospital director. Standing before the hospital staff on his first day as director, Daniel smiled with gratitude. "I stand here today," he said, "not because I was the smartest doctor, but because I never forgot that every patient is a person created by God and deserving of love, dignity, and respect." Under his leadership, the hospital grew into one of the finest medical centers in the country. He introduced programs that helped families who could not afford treatment, invested in training young doctors, and reminded everyone that compassion was just as important as medical skill. Daniel's career flourished. His family enjoyed a comfortable and financially secure life. He and his wife raised their children with humility, generosity, and faith, always remembering that their blessings were gifts from God. Years later, as Daniel walked through the hospital halls, he noticed young doctors speaking gently to frightened patients, nurses offering words of encouragement, and families leaving with renewed hope. The culture of kindness he had planted had become part of the hospital's identity. Looking around with thankful eyes, Daniel quietly repeated the scripture that had guided him from the beginning. "Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord, not for human masters." He smiled, knowing that true success was never measured by titles or wealth alone, but by the lives touched with love, compassion, and faithful service. And so, the young doctor who refused to let criticism change his heart became a respected leader, a blessing to countless people, and a living example that kindness, perseverance, and faith in God always leave a lasting legacy.